everyone, so today we're going to make bath bombs. They're pretty simple to make and they're so much fun to use in the bath. So for starters, we're going to put all the dry ingredients in a large bowl, which I've already done. It'll take a half a cup of baking soda, a fourth a cup of citric acid, which you can get in the canning section at Walmart, and then a fourth a cup of cornstarch, and then a fourth a cup of essential oil. Not essential oil, Epsom salt, sorry. If you want to use your essential oil, I would just get non-scented Epsom salt. I get the scented one because I don't have essential oils. So once you put all those in, you'll want to dry them, or you'll want to stir them. And just make sure it's pretty stirred. You could just use your hands and make sure it's really stirred. And then you'll want to put in your wet ingredients, which is a tablespoon of oil. I'm using olive oil this time, but I've used vegetable oil, I've used coconut oil. So just whatever you want to use is up to you, or whatever you have. I've already done that. And then it'll activate the citric acid a little bit. So just make sure to go quickly and it'll fizz a little bit. And then it's still a little bit crumbly, not holding its form, which is how we make the bath bombs. Is it needs to hold its form while it's drying. So I take a sprayer or a spritzer and I spray just like one or two. You don't want to put too much water in, otherwise all the citric acid will activate. So you'll want just put a little bit at a time, and then you'll want to move quickly because it will activate and fizz up. So just spray a little bit and then stir with your hands. And it's totally up to you if you want to put more in, if you don't feel like it's holding its form very well. So I think I'll put just one more spritz, and then just use both your hands, make sure it's good and mixed. And so once it holds its form like that, that should be pretty good. See, it's not crumbling. Oops, that was my finger, not the thing. So now is for the fun part, and we get to dye the bath bomb. So you'll want to get a separate bowl, and you'll put, I don't like to dye big chunks at a time, so I put little bits or a little bit at a time, and you can do multiple colors. You can do whatever color you want. There's soap dyes, or there's just food coloring. I like to use just food coloring. It doesn't dye the bathtub. Just make sure you don't put a lot in there. You don't want it super pigmented, otherwise it might dye your skin. But I've never had any problems using just straight food coloring. So I'm going to use purple and just put a few drops, however much you think you need, depending on how much powder you put in there in the first place. And then you can use a spoon, or you can just use your hands. It probably will dye your hands if you use your hands, but I feel like using your hands helps get the color everywhere, so you don't have splotches, and it just helps stir it faster. And if you do dye your skin, it'll come off in a few days. It's fine. So depending on how dark you want it, it depends on how much food dye you'll want to put in there. So right now it looks like that. It's still pretty light, but that's what I was looking for. So yeah, just make sure it's really mixed, and then you will get your bath bomb mold, which I got mine at Hobby Lobby. But before I went to Hobby Lobby, I honestly just used Easter eggs. They work fine. Anything that will close together and hold the shape. So I have these heart ones. So you'll want to make it overflow and really pack it in. And if you don't have enough color dye, just use your white dye, or like you can use like several colors at one time. That's really pretty. Yeah, make as many colors as you want in different bowls. And really overflow it, because that's how it gets it to stay. So once they're really packed in there and really stuck, you'll want to smush them as hard as you can together and make sure they're really stuck together, because you don't want them to fall apart when you pull the mold off. So there's two ways to do this. You can either leave it in the mold for a few days to let it dry. You can put it in the freezer for about 3 hours. Personally, I like to just let it sit on the counter and dry. So then, and I also take the molds off so I don't have to, so I can make a ton as much as I want. And there you have it. There's your heart bath bomb. Very pretty, very purple. And there you go. I hope yours turned out. I hope you